Hey everyone, Brick City Brown Chick coming at you with another episode. And today I'm going to be talking about birthdays. The day I am recording this is the day after my 55th birthday, which is a little hard for me to wrap my mind around. I have not spent a lot of time in my life thinking about getting older. The birthdays come around, they happen, I get older, but it's not something I focus on, which is pretty amazing because I was an only child. So when I was a kid, my birthdays were all about me. I had no siblings, there was nobody to compete with. And my parents really did go all out for my birthdays when I was a child. If you're a person of a certain age, you know that the McDonald's party or the Burger King party or wherever you went, Chuck E. Cheese maybe, was all the rage. My parents did those. We had barbecues in our backyard. When I turned 16, my mother asked me, surprisingly, what I wanted. I told her I wanted a roller skating party. I had a roller skating party. My parents were not always the say yes to everything parents. They were absolutely not those parents. But when it came to my birthday, pretty much whatever I asked for and whatever I wanted, I got. That's kind of how that went. But as I got older, say into my late teens, early 20s, I really did start to dread birthdays. They were not a celebratory occasion for me because I kind of felt like, what exactly am I celebrating? I'm getting older, life's getting harder, more complicated. I have more responsibilities. I just really didn't look at it as something to celebrate. But as I moved into my probably late 30s, early 40s, I really did get a sense of I needed to stop being mopey and selfish about it and be grateful for surviving another year. Something my mother said to me for years, which used to drive me crazy because I felt like she just didn't understand. But what she would say is, you should be grateful for the age you are because not everybody gets the opportunity. And that's a very, let's call it Christian way to look at the world, right? Like you should be grateful for the life that God has given you and that you're still here and able to live it. And it's not that I didn't understand what she was saying, I was just annoyed and didn't want to hear that. That is not something I'd ever say to anybody else because, like I said, it annoyed the crap out of me. So I wouldn't say that to anyone else who wasn't crazy about their birthday. I would just say you have to view it differently. I had a boss several years ago who always took the week of her birthday and sometimes longer than that off. And one day she was explaining it and she said, listen, your birthday is the only real holiday. All of the other holidays we celebrate are made up. And I started to think about that and thought, you know what? She's right. We made up Christmas. We didn't make up the birth of Christ, but we made up the day we celebrate it. We made up Easter, the day we celebrate the resurrection of Christ. And then there are all the, country specific holidays. We've got Memorial Day and Veterans Day and 4th of July and Indigenous Peoples Day. Like all those are made up. So she's absolutely 100% right. So the day you are born is truly the only true holiday. So I took a page out of her book and started taking off my birthday and taking off time around my birthday even if I wasn't doing anything but resting and then going out to dinner or something similar on the actual day. So I have changed my perspective on my birthday over the course of my life. Now at 55, I marked my birthday this year with my husband. We went out last night. We're going on a dinner cruise, or no, a midnight cruise, which would be super interesting. We're going on a midnight dance cruise this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. But I really am now looking at my birthday through the lens of how can I make the world a better place in the remaining years I have left. And people sometimes think that's kind of dark or kind of morbid, but that's just the person I am. I'm always looking for how I can make situations or events better. Because when you get right down to it, the only person you have any control over is you. You have no control over your parents. You have no control over your spouse. You have no control over your kids. Well, you have a certain amount, but your kids are their own people, which becomes clearer the older they get, right? So once you really understand that the only person's actions you can control are yours, then that gives you the power to do what you can to make the world function better, be better, make people think about the consequences of their actions. And one of the ways I've chosen to do that is this podcast. I really do like sharing life lessons, things I've learned over the course of my life in hopes that it will help other people. A saying I've heard recently is you don't always have to go through the valley to learn from mistakes. What does that mean? It means that it's not necessary all the time for you to learn the lesson the hard way, for you to learn to do something because it didn't work the last time you did it. It's better to be able to observe or listen to other people who've already done it, who've already gone through it, and learned what doesn't work. Now, does that always work for people? No, because usually young people are stubborn and hard headed and they want to do things their way. In that situation, again, you have to remember that you can't control them. All you can do is advise them. All you can do is say, hey, I've been where you've been, I've done what you've done, and this is how it went. So all I can say to you is, you're an adult. You're welcome to try to do things differently. But if it doesn't work, learn from that lesson and keep moving forward. Years ago, the big word in the workplace was resilience, that people needed to learn how to bounce back from disappointments. That is, of course, much easier said than done. There are times when you are so tired and so frustrated and so drained that really all you want to do is go curl up in a ball or maybe go sit and plant your face in some ice cream. You just don't want to deal with it. And it's important to understand that there are going to be times like that. But more often than not, you're going to have to pick yourself up from that place and keep moving. And it took me years, and I mean years of therapy to really get to the place of finding the tools to be able to do that successfully. There is a difference between going through the motions and being resilient. And I spent a long time going through the motions of just trying to get through another day, put one foot in front of the other, and just keep going because I had to. Either I was a student, or I was working, or I was a wife, or a daughter, or fill in the blank. And I just had to force myself to do it. Now I'm at a point in my life where when I need the rest, when I need the downtime, I will take it. I don't answer to people about it. If people don't understand, that's their problem. I just will disengage. And everybody who knows me well knows that when I'm in that space, they just need to give me the space. And when I feel better, when I feel resilient, when I feel like I am able to bounce back, then I will be back. That's not something that works for everybody, but I found that it works for me. And I need to do what's best for me because I am the person who has the control over me. So as I walk into 55, I want to let everybody know that the longer you live, the better you get to know yourself. And the better you know yourself, the better your interactions with the people you love and care about will be. I want to thank everybody for joining me for the podcast this week. If you are not subscribed, there is a button here just below my head for you to subscribe and hit the notifications button so you know when I upload new episodes. I usually do episodes once a week. Occasionally, there'll be a second episode in a week. So please look forward to those, and I look forward to talking to everybody next week. Take care.